Welcome to the Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. And if you hear the little tippy-tappies of little toes, that would be the wiener dog.
Yeah, she won't lay down.
She just wants to hang out with us.
Yeah.
She wants to be a part of the Becks. So we're going to change our name starting tomorrow to the Boo Becks.
The Boo Becks.
The Boo Becks. She's very cute. Alright, so this week we are talking about Skinamarink.
I'm glad you're excited.
I saw what this movie was going for. Do I think it was successful? Variably.
I see what it was going for too, and I think it would have been super cool, but this was not.
So Becky tried watching this movie twice and rage quitted each time.
I just couldn't. I could not get into it. I sat there and I'm like, okay, I'm into this. And I shut the lights off because that's what I read. A lot of people were like, shut the lights off, watch it in the dark, okay.
Oh, really?
And so I tried, and it just did not work out for me, like at all. I just lost interest super quick. I couldn't keep up with it. It just was not for me, which I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that it probably was for. I don't know. I didn't look at the ratings or anything to see how it did.
So this is one of the times where this movie has either 5 stars or it has 1 star. And it makes perfect sense when you watch it. What's interesting is that this movie was leaked online, and I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but the reason why it got so popular was like somebody random like discovered it, and like it spread through word of mouth. And
interesting.
And it had a budget of $15,000.
Really? That's shocking to me.
You are such an asshole.
I mean, there were a lot of Legos, though, and those aren't cheap.
That's where all of their budget went, was the Legos. They bought 3 sets, and that capped their budget.
Yeah.
But it made over $2 million.
Wow, good for them. I mean, seriously, good for them. Like I said, I did not enjoy it. And I did not finish it. And that's the first time I can ever say that about something that we've set out to watch or talk about. I just couldn't do it. I do apologize if my voice is a little grovelly. I'm still dealing with sinusy stuff from the cold I had 2 weeks ago now. It's vicious.
I'm still not convinced it wasn't something worse than a cold. You were patient 0 for some weird shit.
No, Roger was patient 0. It started with him and spread through the household. So he is definitely, he was.
So anyway, I am very curious to see who in our audience has watched this movie, heard of this movie, etc., and what their feelings were about it, because it's very divisive. Critics loved this movie, which doesn't surprise me. Audiences, it was more of a mixed bag. Like I said, either you really, really liked this movie or you really hated it. The thing about this movie is that, I think it's a little too long for what it is. So if you don't know, this movie is about 2 kids, young, like 6 and 4, and they are in their house. Their parents seem to have gone missing, and very slowly other things in their house start to go missing, and objects end up in places where they shouldn't be, and then an entity starts talking to them and does some bad things. So
the windows, the doors, any entry point or exit point, they all disappear.
Yeah.
So it is, the premise of it to me, yes, is super creepy. And their dad's gone, just poof.
Yeah, the idea was so the guy who directed this, Kyle Edward Ball, he had a YouTube channel, and he would upload videos based on nightmares recounted by his commenters. So he had a short film called Heck, which I have heard of. I haven't watched, but I have heard of it. And it was developed as a proof of concept for Skinamarink. The idea of this movie is it's supposed to be very surreal and weird because it's about vague childhood memories, childhood homes, and the nightmares that you would have as a kid. And I think that's why this movie did freak me out because, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, I had a really weird recurring nightmare when I was little.
Yeah.
And this movie captured the vibes of that nightmare perfectly.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think that's why this movie had more of an impact on me than it did you. Because I was able to just, like, look at it and be like, oh my god, I have been there before. You know, it's like a crazy thing. And the nightmare, if you're a new listener, you haven't, I don't even remember what episode I talked to about it on. But when I was little, I had this recurring nightmare that I was in my kitchen, hardwood floors, and I would get this feeling of like vertigo or dizziness, and the floor would tip, and I would start sliding down off into like an abyss of nothingness. And I remember trying to crawl or scratch, like to try to get a hold of the floor. My fingernails would peel off while I was falling. Very, very young when I had that nightmare, and I had it for years.
Do you remember when it went away? Like, what caused it to stop? I mean, not what caused it to stop,
it was
but
when we moved
in your life. So it was the house.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because as soon as we moved out of that house, I was fine.
It was the house. Something was there that wasn't right.
It was an old farmhouse. It had a regular basement and a Michigan basement, like off to the side of the actual basement.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So. So this movie really captures the atmosphere of just weird, half-remembered childhood nightmares. And it does a lot of interesting things with perspective and camera work. The main problem that I feel like most people are going to have with this movie is that nothing really happens for like the vast majority of it.
Yeah, and I think that's where I mean, not that I need constant stimulation to keep me interested in it, but it was just, I don't know, I really think the whole plot is wonderful. I do think it's a great plot. I think there's a lot of things they could have done with it, but the majority of just sitting there and the angles at which they filmed, and you're not seeing anything, you're not hearing anything, it's just kind of voided space, and that just, I was over it.
I will say one thing that really annoyed me was the fucking cartoons.
Oh yeah, but they said that was part of the plot that was supposed to creep everybody out. I just thought it was dumb.
It irritated me. It was like nails on a chalkboard at a certain point, because the movie, there's this pervasive sound of like static because it's meant to evoke the old film. Because this takes place in 1995. So it's like an old film camera. So it has that noise. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So it has that constant noise. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. The kids are watching the cartoons as like a security blanket. I think it makes them feel safe in this ever-evolving and changing house of theirs that they're no longer able to recognize, and their parents aren't there and they're scared. But it is like nails on a chalkboard. It's annoying.
Yeah. I found it annoying too that you never see like the kids' faces. You never see. It's just their backs or their shadows or...
I'm wondering if... So, this is supposed to kind of... The movie is supposed to be from their perspective.
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering if that's kind of why. Or more getting back to the fact that this was a very small production. Maybe the director needed kids for the role, obviously. Mm-hmm. But he didn't want to show their faces because of their age.
I'm sure it was very deliberate, and that's the way it was meant to be. And maybe that was part of the whole nightmare of, leaving a lot of things faceless and void,
right?
And
because
empty. And
when you do see Kaylee, eventually, it's after the entity, whatever it is, has taken her face.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I will say the premise was very good. When I read what it was about, I was like, oh, this should be pretty good. And I gave it like a fair shot. And then I'm watching it, and the further I'm getting into it, the more I'm like, what in the absolute hell am I watching? I am not enjoying this. And so I messaged Sydney and was like, dude, I can't do this. She's like, I'm so sorry. What else do you want to do? And I'm like, no, we can talk about it. But I don't think I'm going to get through this. I just tried so hard. So then I tried again the next night, and I just gave up and just started reading some breakdown of what the plot was about, who was in it, which I knew pretty much what it was about because I'd been watching most of it. But yeah, no, it was not for me.
When the entity kind of like officially makes itself known, that's when the movie I was able to lock into it better.
Yeah. Because
before I was just like, okay, this really is uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mean, there were some interesting things with like the camera angles, and because there's no music in this film at all. No music, no soundtrack or anything. And I mean, I think there's even something at the beginning that says something about how like the cartoons that they show are all like in the public domain, so they can't get sued. So it could be partially, they didn't want to pay for licensing. Also, the lack of music is very disquieting, actually. It is creepy to have a movie, and you see it in other movies where there's this deliberate lack of any type of music or anything.
What in the absolute hell just happened?
I am so fucking creeped out right now. Why? What was that?
I don't know.
Sick boo on it.
That paper's been laying there. I don't know.
It was like...
It's like something slid.
Yeah, but like nothing was precarious. I mean, it was obviously this, but why?
I don't know, because it was laying there. But how did it move to make that noise? Okay. Anyway. Just as we start talking about the entity.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't either.
What the fuck? Something really creepy just happened, okay?
I'm sure you heard the rustling of whatever that was, paper, apparently.
Something moved and there was no reason for it to move. So that's where we're at right now. Apparently we're haunted now. Not cool.
No.
We like talking about stuff. We don't like experiencing creepy things.
All right, so you were talking about the beginning where... I don't know where we left off. That scared me a little bit.
We're very unsettled right now. Anyway, so when does the entity first start? Well, actually, okay, so it's weird. So it's implied that their parents are gone. But then you see Kaylee finds her mom in the bedroom. But her mom, refuses to look at her. And she tells Kaylee, who's the daughter, to close her eyes. And the camera shuts off. And then you just hear this horrible noise. And Kaylee screams and gets freaked out. And basically, I don't think the parents were ever there. I think when they were missing, they really were missing. And whatever was there was something pretending
to be the parents.
To be their parents. Because Kaylee hears a voice calling from a closet. And it sounds like Kaylee's mom. But clearly it's not.
So it's a screwed up movie. It's scary. I get that.
Yeah, there's not only is her mom's voice calling to her, but there's also moaning and sounds of bones breaking and stuff. Creepy.
And remember, these are small children. These are not teenagers, or they're 6 and 4. They're babies, and their parents are just gone. And I did see the one part where little Kevin had to use the bathroom, so they were going to the bathroom, and
the downstairs bathroom,
and the toilet was gone because things kept disappearing.
Yeah.
So they go upstairs, and they see creepy things.
Yeah, there's like a doll hanging from the ceiling. And so, yeah, there was a hand that reached around the corner, and that's when Kaylee screamed and ran downstairs. And then Kevin couldn't go to the bathroom.
He was too scared.
There was no toilet. And then
and he's too scared to go upstairs.
Too scared. And at some point, Kaylee does disappear. And Kevin's left by himself, which I was really upset about, actually. Like, it's just upsetting. Like, putting yourself in Kevin's shoes. He tried calling 911. And this was after the voice told him to stick a knife in his eye. Yeah. Which he did. Which is crazy. I don't even know why he did it. I guess because... I guess the voice kind of made it like a game. But even at 4, you kind of know that knives aren't for putting in your eye.
Well, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, not really sure why Kevin did it. But he calls 911, tells the operator that he hurt himself and he feels sick. And the operator is like, how old are you? You know, all the standard questions. And like, okay, we'll send somebody. You got to stay on the phone with me, though. And Kevin's like, well, the doors are gone.
How terrifying. I read something. I don't know if it was a Reddit.
A Reddit.
Sorry.
A Reddit post.
Yeah, I was getting there. Okay, so I don't know if it was a Reddit post, but it talked about how people were discussing how this whole movie may be built on the premise of the nightmare, the fear of being abandoned, or abuse. So, you know, parents like walking out on the kids and the kids being left home alone and having to fend for themselves. And so was it a nightmare that they were, you know, facing on their own, of being left alone and then everybody leaving them, and which I thought was an interesting take on it.
No, I could definitely see that, because that makes me kind of think of Mr. Smiley.
Oh, yeah.
Because the girl, like, made up a monster in order for her to kind of rationalize the abuse that she was receiving from her foster father. So it wasn't her foster father that was doing it. It was Mr. Smiley. Mm-hmm. So I could definitely see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kevin stops answering the 911 operator because the operator is obviously trying to make sure that he's still talking to him and he's still okay. Because Kevin says something and the operator is like, I thought you said you were alone in the house. I don't remember exactly what he said, but the operator is like, hang on. I thought you said you were alone. Like, are you not alone? Like, is someone there? Is someone hurting you? And then the phone turns into one of those toy phones with the faces. Mm-hmm. And at that point, Kevin's like, how did you do that? And the entity is like, I can do anything I want. And before it had said, like, I took away Kaylee's face because she broke the rules and she wanted to see and talk to your parents. So I punished her, like, essentially. Mm-hmm. So then the voice... and you can tell that Kevin is very scared of whatever this is at this point.
Yeah.
So when the voice tells him to go upstairs, he does it. I mean, it can turn a real phone into a fake phone. It can take away all the doors and windows. It can
take away his sister.
It can take away her face. It can do all these things. So, you know. So the voice tells him to go upstairs, and then he ends up on the ceiling. And he walks into the bedroom, and there's a dollhouse. And it's like the hallway is infinite. Like, it goes off into the void forever. And there's something on the screen that's, like, implies that like, Kevin has been there a really long time, or that a lot of time has passed. It's like 500 days or something.
Can you imagine the fear of a small child like that being just terrorized? And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's a baby.
Yeah.
4-year-old is a baby.
Yeah, it says 572 days.
Oh my goodness.
So you see Kaylee, she's sitting on her bed and her body starts to fade away. But it's just her body that fades away. Her head fades away eventually, but not like with the rest of the body, which is fucked up and weird.
Well, yeah.
And then there's a bunch of pictures of people that are shown where all their faces are gone or like mutilated. And then Kevin makes like a noise of pain and you see blood splatter. And then he asks Kaylee if they can watch something happy. And then there's like a picture of a door. And this is how the movie ends. So in the dark, there's a face that appears over Kevin in his bed and tells him to go to sleep. Kevin asks the thing that's telling him to go to sleep what his name is, and it never answers. He asks it twice, and it never answers, and then the movie ends. So I think that kind of lends to the theory that it's like abuse or something like that, because when you're that little, you wouldn't know what it's called.
Yeah.
So you're also kind of searching for a word that you don't have in your vocabulary. And you don't want a kid to have that in their vocabulary, right?
Well, no. They shouldn't at that age.
It's sad that it has to exist anyway, but, like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Wikipedia describes this film as experimental, which I totally agree with because it's super weird. There's no movie like it.
No, for sure.
Super unique. If you're familiar with liminal spaces, this is a good example of a film that, like, their entire house begins to feel like a liminal space, which, let me look up the definition of that real quick, because, like, if you know what a liminal space is, you know what it is, but it's hard to explain.
So, there's apparently 3 common interpretations and debates about this movie. I'll let you read your,
Boo.
See, she wants to be a Becks. She's talking.
She says, ooh.
Oh, I'm so amused.
Ooh.
Are you going through childhood trauma?
Yeah. She's like, I know exactly what you guys are talking about. I was there. So a liminal space is a place or time of transition representing the in-between threshold between what was and next. So it's like think of like an empty airport, right? So it's spaces that are often transitional, uncomfortable, and disorienting. So it's like a weird mix of nostalgia and eeriness, because it's, you know, again, they talk about how this is supposed to evoke like childhood, like your childhood home, and also like the weird dreams and scary stuff that happened in your old house. So it's like that. So yeah. And this movie does a good job of feeling like that, I would say.
Oh, I think so. Even though I hated it. So apparently the common interpretations and debates are, number 1, childhood trauma or abuse. Mm-hmm. Some see it as an allegorical representing neglect, a broken family, or a child's inability to process an abusive situation. This one I find interesting. Coma or brain injury.
Oh, because Kevin falls down the stairs at the beginning.
So they're saying that a popular theory is he fell down the stairs while sleepwalking, and he's in a coma, and the film represents his fading consciousness.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why things are gradually disappearing. Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. That one freaks me out a little more than the abuse. I don't know why.
Imagine being stuck in your own head and things are just slowly disappearing because you're going brain dead or whatever. Yeah. That's horrific.
Yep. The third one is analog horror supernatural. It says others focus on the demon-like entity, the disappearing doors, and the unsettling toys, leaning into classic horror tropes filtered through a child's perspective. But I tend to lean towards either of the other two.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the entity is scary, but it just seems like it's more psychological than actual horror and supernatural.
Kevin's also at the age where I could see him believing still that his parents can really do anything.
Yeah.
So that could explain some of the weird things that happen, like, oh, how did you do that? And the voice saying, like, I can do anything. Because you think that of your parents.
Of course.
Until you reach a certain age. Like, they can literally do anything. And they can do stuff that you don't understand. It's just kind of a fact of life.
Yeah.
And as a kid, too, I think you just have the ability of taking something that's mundane and turning it into something that's not necessarily scary, but certainly can be. Like, I remember I would wake up in the middle of the night all the time from the nightmare, or just in general. I would wake up and I would look around my room, and I would think that there were monsters.
Oh yeah, you can convince yourself. Your mind is such a powerful tool that you could. I think the times that I have been the most scared have been my brain convincing me that I should be scared. I know I've told this story before. My brother's first wife, my oldest brother's first wife, they got married and they stayed at my cousin's cabin. This was like it had a loft and then the living room basically, and a bathroom and a kitchen. So you could see everything. Everything was open. The loft is open upstairs where the bed is. Plenty of room. I had gone over there. I was hanging out with them that night. My brother went somewhere. I can't remember where he went, but it was me and my sister-in-law. And we ended up calling my mother. It was still daylight outside because it was summer. They got married in July. And she had to come over because we had convinced ourselves that someone was up in that frickin' loft because we heard something. I'm not kidding you. We called crying from the landline because that's all there was then.
Oh my God.
And my mom had to come check it out, go up there. Because her and I had convinced ourselves that someone was up there and they were going to kill us.
And how old were you both?
My brother was 8 years older than me. He got married when he was 21. So I was... Oh, no, it was before that. I was probably 12 because I think they got pregnant when I was 12. Right after they got married. So I think I was 12 and she was like 18 because she was a little younger than my brother.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah. Yeah. Old enough to know better. But still. I was 15 when I went to the cemetery with my brother and his friend. And that was one of the scariest nights of our lives. Funny now I look back on it, but it was one of the scariest nights of our lives because of the three of us sat in the car and convinced ourselves that there were definitely devil worshippers in Satanists that were going to kill us and slaughter us.
Obviously.
And they had me convinced I was the only virgin. They lied. So I would think I would die. Probably so I'd be like, I'm a virgin, kill me, save my friends. Fuckers. You know who you are, Belinda.
Oh my fucking God. That's so funny. Okay,
But yes, the mind can make you think things, and it's, even out of your control, even though you're supposed to be in control of your own mind. We all know that doesn't work.
Mind over matter.
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah, and I think this movie really tries to take advantage of the fact that imagination 100% makes things worse, because there's a point where something tells Kaylee, I can't remember if it's her mom or if it's the entity at that point, or the entity pretending to be her mom, whatever, tells her to look under the bed. I was scared when she looked under the bed. I'm like, do not look under the bed. And then she does, and there's nothing there. But it freaked me out. Like, I was like, do not do that. Mm-hmm. Exit the room, go back downstairs, sit your ass in front of the TV. Watch those fucking annoying ass cartoons. Let's not. So yeah, this movie, very divisive. I enjoyed it a lot more than Becky did. Did I enjoy it? No. But I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed it more than Becky, and there were parts of it that I did like. especially because, like I said, I could relate to it a little bit when it came to just the vibes. And I like the theories. Those are interesting. I'm glad you found those.
Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting too. And just the fear that goes along with that. I can't even imagine. Because they say that coma patients, whether they're dying or whether they are able to be saved, they can hear and they know. And can you imagine being one of those that is still alert enough, but your body's giving out on you? And that's got to be a horrible fear. So that one really I find interesting, because it's like, oh, and yes, we all know how the mind will protect you from abuse. So you create, even though this was a terrifying situation for little Kevin,
monsters make more sense.
Monsters make more sense than the people you love, that are supposed to love you the most and protect you the most, hurting you.
Yeah.
So, yes. And like I said, I think the premise of the movie, I think what they were trying to achieve is a super cool idea. $15,000, I guess you don't have much to work with, but I would have liked to have seen it done a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder what a movie like this would be if it had a budget.
Yeah.
Like a significant one.
Yeah.
Not that I think that, you know, like, oh yeah, sell out to Hollywood. That's a good idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I do wonder what this person could have done creatively with a much larger budget. Because I'm sure there were some constraints because of how small the budget was. I mean, you're making a tiny movie for, you know, I mean, obviously you hope it blows up, which it did, which is cool. But when you're a small like company or person or whatever, obviously you hope that it reaches a wider audience, but you're really making it for a smaller one first. So it's just interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wonder about it.
So I just found this Reddit post, people talking about the movie, and it is exactly what Sydney said. It's 5 stars or no stars. People either really love it or people really don't get it. You know, Sydney, she's just kind of in the middle there. I get it, but yeah. So this one says that they had seen it in the theater.
Who's the person?
Kevin Gleeman. Okay. And it was posted 3 years ago. He said, just got back from watching the movie at the theater. Here are my thoughts. First, some context, as this is a very personal movie for me. In 95, I was involved in a near-fatal car crash. I'll try to make a long story as short as possible, but still give relative information. I was the only one involved in the accident. It happened on an icy road in the Appalachians. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but before you comment about that, everyone, police and EMS included, agreed. Had I been, I would have been crushed and juiced.
Ooh. Juiced?
Even still, after I was ejected from the car, it rolled over me, sharing my pelvis, crushing my spine. Shattering, yep. And breaking both legs. My right hip, my knees, severed ribs, and I lost my spleen and a large portion of my left leg. Additionally, I suffered serious head trauma and ended up in a coma for 9 weeks. So here's my take on the movie based on firsthand experience.
Oh, shit.
At the very beginning, we hear the dad get on the phone with someone telling them Kevin fell, hit his head pretty hard, but the dad thinks he's fine. What follows is Kevin's experience as he slips into unconsciousness due to a concussion. And he likely hit his temple and damaged his ocular nerve.
Oh.
90% of the movie is his fever dream nightmare caused by his head injury. I had a very similar experience and can recall some of the weird shit I dreamt, including being kidnapped and tied up and gagged.
Holy shit.
Apparently what was happening to me while I was unconscious was they buckled my arms to the bed and intubated me, and my brain interpreted that in my dreams.
Oh, I hate that.
Then as my time in the ICU worsened, things in my dreams worsened until I slipped into a coma where I don't remember anything until I started to come out of it. Coming out of the coma, I had more dreams, though mine were centered around floating in the sky next to planes and looking down at Earth. In this movie, the moment Kevin slips into his coma was towards the end when he started walking in the ceiling and into the bedroom where he finally slips into darkness before coming out 572 days later.
Oh, no fucking shit, dude.
While I was only in a coma for 9 weeks, and so my waking up dreams didn't last as long as his, everything after the 572 days are even weirder, like mine were too.
Oh my God.
That's pretty cool to read that.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And you know what's weird, as I'm reading that, I'm thinking about my mom, because when we put her in the nursing home and she was having such mental issues and we thought it was dementia, which she does have a slight touch of that, but she was very sick. She had a raging UTI. She was extremely malnourished, which can cause extreme mental issues.
Yeah.
She was convinced that the nurses and the doctors had beat her up. And she had fallen and broke her hip. Mm-hmm. And she fell. She got up. They showed me the film. I saw how she fell. You know, I knew she fell right out in the open.
Yeah.
She had fallen and broke her hip. And she had, in her mind, had created a scenario where the one male nurse was the doctor. She was convinced he was a doctor. And that all the female nurses were jealous, so they beat her down.
Oh.
They beat me down because of him. They were jealous, so they beat me down. And that's how she broke her hip.
So when she became lucid again, has she ever brought it up?
She doesn't remember any of it.
Okay.
She remembers having her surgery, but not a lot of it. But she has no idea, like, what she was. But she was, and I know people have hallucinations, but she was fine when she broke her hip. Like, I went in and talked to her, and this was like 2 weeks later. So, and she had developed a UTI, and so she was having these nightmare dreams where these things were happening. And it's just because the mind was, I'm sure it was her mind protecting herself from being in a different place, from the trauma of being removed from her home and everything she'd gone through.
Yeah.
It made this scenario up of she was being attacked by this street gang of bitchy nurses.
those hussies.
Yeah, she had a whole relationship that she thought she had with a young
Oh yeah, I bet.
CNA.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
she did.
Just things that, yeah, yep.
I
Crazy.
really dislike that. As someone who is super independent, I mean anybody really, but for me personally, when I think about that, someone who values independence and being able to do things myself and being able to trust my own mind to like potentially get to that point, either by age or coma or whatever, where you can't trust yourself to know what reality is and you can't be independent and you can't, that fucking terrifies me.
That's why I've never done drugs. I am not a candidate to do any kind of psychedelics because my mind is the most important thing to me. Keeping that control, keeping my wits about me, knowing what I'm doing, where I'm doing. You know, I could drink and never lost that. I never ever got so drunk that I lost that. Except for one time when I was drugged. But drugs, being high on marijuana even, threw me off. I've never done any other drugs, just marijuana. And it because I just felt that I was not in complete control. I cannot do it.
Yeah, I think that was my big issue with, so when I was in so much pain because of my appendix, they gave me fentanyl in my IV. I fucking hated the sensation of that. Like I swear to God, I could feel it enter my body and like I could feel it like an egg yolk down, like starting at the top of my head and going down to my toes. And I felt floaty and spinny, and I was like, I hate this. Like, I immediately, you can ask Diana, I was like, I do not like this. And the nurse was like, well, is the pain gone? And I'm like, yeah, but I hate it.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Dilaudid when I had a kidney stone. They're like, we're going to give you Dilaudid because the Toradol, which does nothing, it's a lie, Toradol. I don't know, helps some people, it does not help me. But they gave me Toradol, it didn't work. I was in extreme pain, so they gave me the Dilaudid. And like I said, marijuana, I've never done any illicit drugs. So I'm laying there, and my husband, who was a recovering addict, or maybe recovering, I don't know, he was standing there with me, and they gave me the shot, and I think they pushed it a little too fast anyways, but it hit me, and I lost my mind. It was like my face was on fire. Oh. And then it went to my chest, and I'm like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh. My face is on fucking fire. And I'm swearing like this in the ER. I'm like, something is wrong. And he had to talk me through it. He's like, you will be fine. Just give it a couple minutes. It's going to go away. You're okay. And I felt it from my head all the way through my body. And yes, it took away the pain, and it was wonderful when the pain was gone. But I never let them give me Dilaudid again. Not when I was awake. They gave it to me after my hysterectomy, and I didn't know it.
Oh.
But no. Mm-mm.
I'm sure that's what they gave me, like, pretty much, like, during my surgery and, like, immediately after. They switched me to Norco once I was, like, awake enough to take a pill.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I did not like it.
I don't like fentanyl. I told you what it did to me coming out. They gave it to me for my back surgery, and I had to be reminded to breathe. No, I don't want... If my mind can't make my body breathe, do not put that stuff in my body.
Yeah, it absolutely... I did not like how it made me feel at all. So.
But that's how people die from that. Can you imagine even wanting to do that to yourself?
I cannot.
I cannot either, and I feel bad for people that do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't... I that's one of my biggest fears is losing my mind for whatever reason. Dementia, Alzheimer's. And like I told you, stuff keeps popping up in my Facebook about early onset.
You talk about it all the time.
I'm dying. Well, I'm in menopause, and it feels like you might be getting dementia. There's lots of weird stuff that goes along with it. And I have lots of inflammation in my body, so it's scary. But, yeah. No, I don't want to be out of control of what I'm thinking.
It's just so, it's just scary stuff, man. So, yeah, I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on Skinamarink, if you've seen it, if you want to give it a try, listening to us talk about it.
You may love it.
Yeah.
It all depends on the person. Like I said, I've read lots of Reddit posts where people are like, oh my God, it freaked me out so bad. Scariest movie I've ever seen. Other people are like, most boring movie I've ever seen.
I do wonder if there is a correlation between people who are scared by the movie and people who have had, like, fucked up childhoods or, like...
Could be.
Stuff like that. Not necessarily abuse related, but, I mean, again, like, I wasn't abused when I was a kid, but I had that reoccurring nightmare that immediately made me, like, zero in on that aspect of this movie and being like, oh, I'm dialed in.
Yeah. Or like that guy, you know, that had dealt with the coma.
Yeah.
That, like, hit home for him. So, yeah, I can't... yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting take.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So, we have our next episodes planned out. We're going to be recording a little bit early next week because we're going to be leaving for the DR, which is very exciting. We're going somewhere warm.
I'm so excited.
Fuck this cold shit. The following week, we probably will not have an episode because we're getting back late Wednesday. And I really doubt we're going to want to record.
We might do a Becks Bits next week. Something quick and simple. Just that we'll upload that day while we're gone. Yeah. We'll see.
But we do have the next 2 episodes at least planned, so look out for those.
What are we doing, Sydney?
We're doing an H.P. Lovecraft short story called The Call of Cthulhu. And after that, we're doing The Secret Window with Mr. Johnny Depp.
Only doing it because I love Johnny. It's a good movie. We'll talk about that. I like it.
Today, the pod, tomorrow, the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.